Good afternoon, everybody. As many of y'all probably already know, the Archbishop recently this week put out a brand new decree in regards to reopening our churches, allowing us to come back together to worship one another, to receive the sacraments, especially the sacrament of the Eucharist. It has been a long time since we have been able to come back together, or at least it feels like that. Little over a month now since we have been able to come together in Mass to receive the Eucharist, to worship with one another. That decree came with the idea that he would be posting out how to go about reopening our churches. That came out yesterday afternoon. So today I've been working with our staff to put together a plan on reopening our church and to be able to bring everybody in to worship with us today. So I want to go over this plan, and then on Friday morning after the daily Mass, we will do a live stream walkthrough of how this process will be put into action. But I do want to go over our plan with the parish and give you this feedback. So we will be reopening officially May 19th. That will be the first Mass in which we are available to come together as a community, as a daily Mass. And daily Masses will resume all of that week. Please note, we will not go back to the 8 a.m. Mass because of the live streaming and recording. That those daily Masses, at least for the time being, will be done at 9 a.m. to be able to allow these Masses to still be live streamed. The Archbishop has asked that we continue to live stream for those who still feel a little bit uncomfortable and do not wish to come back to Mass at this time. So May 19th, we will be all together in the main sanctuary of the church for daily Mass. There is still a requirement, which I'll go over in a second, in regards to how many people are allowed in the church at any one time. But May 19th, those daily Masses moving forward will be open to the public. The first of our weekend Masses, which we can come together on a Saturday or Sunday, will be the 23rd and 24th of May. This is Ascension Sunday, where we celebrate and commemorate Jesus ascending into heaven after the resurrection. And so it is a beautiful feast for us to all come together. Please note, one of the things that they are asking of us is to only do 25% capacity of the church. Our main sanctuary sits around 800 people when it is completely full. So our goal is to keep every Mass that we are going to offer at less than 200 people. Please keep that in mind as we go forward, because I do need us to understand that the requirement from the Archdiocese is to stay at 25% of our capacity, which will be counting myself, the ushers, the musicians. Anybody in the main sanctuary counts in our 200-person number, including children and infants. So please keep that in mind as we move forward. For our Sunday Mass schedule, for our weekend Masses, that's the weekend of the 23rd and 24th moving forward, because of the restriction of 200 people at a max in Mass, I have went ahead and added an extra Mass that you will hear me talk about. So we will begin with the Saturday Vigil Mass. That will be at 5 p.m. Confessions beforehand at 4. On Sunday, I have moved our Masses around slightly, so please pay attention in this part. We will have an 8 a.m. Mass, a 9:30 a.m. Mass, 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. in Spanish. Please keep this in mind in regards to the Mass schedule, that we have added this extra Mass to try to relieve any spots where we feel that we push over 200 people. So if you are one that is thinking, the Mass I normally attend gets kind of close, maybe this new 9:30 Mass spot is the spot for you to plan on coming to Mass. It is going to be by first come, first serve. The ushers will be at the door. They will count as you come in. So your family comes forward. We have a family of 4. So they will keep track. Okay, 4 more into the main sanctuary. We're not going to release you in to go sit wherever you would like. The ushers, just like if you go to many weddings and different things, the ushers will seat your family. You can tell them which of the 4 sections you may prefer, but we will seat you in the seats that are available. We have blocked off sections and areas of pews that we are not allowed to sit in due to the requirement to still keep social distancing of 6 feet between our family and the nearest family around us. Maybe at this point it's a good time to remind everybody as well. The Archbishop has allowed that the dispensation from attending Mass, maybe we are afraid of getting sick, we are at high risk. The Archbishop has left that dispensation in place. So there is not that idea of it as a sin for missing Masses moving forward. The Archbishop has left that dispensation so that if we are not ready to come back to Mass, we are still allowed to stay home and watch the live stream instead. Live stream on the weekends will be at 9:30 in the morning. We will only live stream the 9:30 Mass each weekend. So a couple of other things for us to be aware of. At this time, because of the way the scheduling is in regards of social distancing, we will not be making use of altar servers in phase 1. Altar servers are kind of given a little bit more of a break, but we will be hoping to make use of them very soon when we move into phase 2 of our different part. For the rest of this stuff here, I want to go through all of this and then I'll go over requirements to remember as well. Sacristans, usually our sacristans are a little bit on the older side, a little more at risk. What we have done is we have assigned a sacristan for every single one of those Masses who will be assigned to help with setup and breakdown of that particular Mass. And we will be reaching out, if we have not already, to each of those individuals who are helping with that. Ushers are taking on a much larger role in regards to our celebrations and our Masses. They will be the ones who will be counting and making sure that we keep our number under 200 people. They will be providing hand sanitizer to each person as they enter the church. If you are someone who is sensitive to the hand sanitizers and the alcohol-based products we will provide, please know we will ask you, if you refuse the hand sanitizer, to go to the family restroom to wash your hands before Mass. We will also have the offertory baskets placed at all of the exit spots of the church. Please keep that in mind, that we will be entering through one set of doors and exiting through other doors. So we will have offertory baskets there to make sure that we're not passing baskets around to each person. The ushers, as I said earlier, will seat all those coming into Mass. So please be patient with them. Please be understanding, as we will be seating each family unit as they come into church. We will not be making missalettes available as we usually have, where you can pick up a book to use for Mass. That's extra sterilizing that we would have to do between the Masses. Instead, what we are going to offer is we are going to be removing the missalettes out of the book holders and allow one missalette per family unit to take a missalette if they so wish. Know that that missalette will then be yours. You keep it, you bring it every single week. You do not have to bring it back to us when their date of use expires. You can dispose of it then as you wish. The ushers will also be responsible for monitoring the communion lines to make sure that we are keeping social distancing protocols of 6 feet between each other going forward for communion. So please keep that in mind, that the ushers will be letting you out of your pews at times to allow for receiving of Holy Communion. What we will do is leave the foyer doors open for entry into the church until the church is full to our 200 capacity. So if you come forward and the doors are already closed, what that will mean is that we are at our 200 person capacity and that we are asking you to please wait for the next Mass to begin. The ushers will also be making sure that everyone who attends Mass is wearing a mask. This is a mandatory requirement from the Archbishop that all those attending Mass please wear a mask. We will have a limited number of masks available for those who have not been able to procure one on their own. Please know we do not want that mask back. You will take it home, you can wash it, launder it, and bring it back with you the next weekend when you attend Mass. Our ushers will also be assisting in sanitizing the church. We are asked to sanitize the entire church after every one of the services. If you would like to help specifically with sanitizing the church, helping the ushers, please reach out to Jessica Lubianski at the church or call the church office and let us know that you would like to be helping with sanitizing at the Mass that you plan on attending. This does not mean that you are assured a spot in Mass if you are volunteering to help with sanitizing. So don't try to use that as a way to assure a spot in Mass. But it is a way to help speed up the process. As of right now, we have 30 minutes between each Mass to get the first group out, sanitize the church, get the next group in. So please be aware of that, of expediency. The ushers will also be helping with recession leaving the church. As I mentioned, we will be entering through one set of doors, the main doors of the foyer. When we leave, I will dismiss you to exit through either the doors by the choir loft and baptismal font and the two glass doors going out into the parking lots. Those are the 4 doors. Please do not go into the foyer. By that point, we will have sterilized for the next Mass and began getting ready to bring people in for the next Mass. So you will be exiting through a different set of doors. Music ministry will be done on a smaller, limited basis. What I have done is I have assigned music ministry leaders for each of the Masses through the month of June, through June 30th. They will be responsible for allowing 4 other people to come in and sing with them to provide music for the Mass. We are limiting the number of people due to the space. Remember, we are still required to keep social distancing guidelines. That includes the choir loft. They will also be required to wear a mask the entire time they are in Mass. For those Masses, if you are one of our choir members and would like to volunteer to help with one of the Masses, the Saturday 5 p.m. leader that I have assigned is Jeanette Morissette, so please reach out to her. The 8 a.m. Mass on Sunday will be led by Alexa Padalecki. She will be helping put together the musicians and singers who will be helping with the 8 a.m. Mass. The 9:30 a.m. Mass will be led by Blake Zigmund and Roxanne. The 11 a.m. Mass will be Neela Montague, and the 1 p.m. Mass will be Felix Trevino. Please remember, this is very limited. So if you are a music ministry member and volunteer, please know it does not guarantee you a space helping with music for that weekend, as you can imagine, probably many people are going to volunteer for each of those Masses. So please keep that in mind. We are also asking that outside of the pianist, we will only allow 1 other instrumental player to allow more vocalists to be able to make use of our music ministry a little bit better. So please keep that in mind as well. We will not be making use of Eucharistic extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion. Instead, myself, deacon, or who the acolyte, if there is one that is helping me with Mass, will be distributing Holy Communion. For lectors and commentators, we will assign 1 lector per Mass per weekend. This lector will also act as the commentator to the beginning of Mass. If timing permits, we also plan on using a recorded version of the Rosary, just as we have been doing for our live stream Masses to this point. That all depends on how quickly we can get one group out and the next group into Mass to begin preparing ourselves and making ready. A couple of very important dates if you have a confirmation student or a First Communion child in our programs. We have rescheduled those events. For confirmation, the Archbishop has given me permission to confirm in his name for this year. So we have reassigned our confirmation date to June 23rd at 7 p.m. We do plan on live streaming this Mass. We are assuming it will be held to the 200-person limit. There will be a rehearsal on June 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. that will include confessions for those receiving confirmation. For those with First Communion children in your family, we will be doing First Communion on the weekend of June 20th and 21st. What we are asking is for those families to call ahead and RSVP to which Mass your child and yourself would like to attend. We are putting a limit of 10 participants per Mass on those Masses. So please call early to make sure you get the Mass that you may want. For rehearsal for First Communion, that will be on June 16th at 7 p.m. Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament will resume on this coming Wednesday, not today which I'm referring, but it will be resuming next week on Wednesday. We will resume the normal scheduled adoration throughout the day after the daily Mass. So that will be at around 9:45. We will be putting the Blessed Sacrament out for adoration in the day chapel. Please know that while it is in the day chapel, we are asking to keep social distancing guidelines and for there to be no more than 10 people in adoration at any given time. At the end of that adoration period, starting at 7 p.m., the Blessed Sacrament will be moved into the main church, and we will continue our live-streamed adorations with reflections and praise and worship music. When it moves into the main church, participation will be increased to allow up to 200 people in the church at that time for those adorations. Please know if you are scheduled for an adoration time and are unable to make it, or maybe you are not comfortable coming up yet, please call the parish office so we can arrange coverage for that hour that you normally cover. Other requirements that we are needing to make sure about: we will only distribute via one species, which is the body of Christ. We are encouraging everyone to please only receive on the hand at this time. No sign of peace. We will not be holding hands during the Our Father. We are also asking, do not linger in the church, in the parking lots, or even in the foyer if you head there. But please keep in mind that we are trying to reduce the possibility of spread of any kind through our Masses. We are also asking, if you choose to wear gloves to Mass, that when it comes time to receive communion, to take those gloves off to receive the Blessed Sacrament. In regards to restrooms, the main parish restrooms, that hallway will remain locked throughout the Masses. The only restroom that will be available is the family restroom, located just off of the foyer near my vesting sacristy. So we are encouraging everyone to please use the restrooms before Mass, so that in case that those restrooms are only used in case of emergencies. We will also be still offering the Sacrament of Reconciliation, as I mentioned earlier. This will be available by appointment. You can call the office and schedule a time with me at any time during the week, or from 4 to 4:50 p.m. on Saturday before the Saturday evening Mass. So a couple of things also that is good for us to remember. I am going, and I'll walk through some of this stuff on Friday with you. Depending on which Mass you decide to come to, I am going to ask you to park in a certain side of the church. This is to reduce cross-contamination for those coming out of the church, those going into the church, to reduce that possibility of coming in contact with somebody else. So please keep that in mind, that we will be listing, each Mass has a designated parking side of the church. Please know I'm not doing this to be mean, to be difficult, but to simply reduce the possibility of too many people gathering, or the possibility of community spread of anything in any regard, any illnesses that I can think of at this time. One other thing that I think is important for us to know, that this coming back as a community will be done in phases. What this means is that while they will be allowing public Masses to resume, the diocese at this time has not allowed public meetings and ministries to resume. That will be done at a later phase. So please note that at this time, while we would love to gather in our different ministries and come back together, at this time the diocese is asking to simply start with public Masses, and at a later date we will resume public ministry. The next section that I do want to go over with everybody is in regards to those who do not feel comfortable coming back to Mass as of yet. What we are going to offer is, if you are homebound, if you are one who is uncomfortable or higher at risk, please call the parish office, and what we are going to arrange is for homebound ministers to bring communion to you after the 9:30 a.m. Mass. But you do have to let us know. We will have a team of people to take communion to those in homebound ministries. Excuse me. If you would like to help, we are still in need of a few extraordinary ministers who are willing to come and go to people's homes to take them communion. Please contact Jessica Lubianski to be added to the list. Please know you need to be under a certain age, which are those less susceptible, less in regards to health risks. We want to try to prevent the availability of spread to those who are staying at home. They're staying home for a reason. And so we want to reduce the possibility of taking a contagion or an illness to them at home. So please keep that in mind, that if you do want to volunteer to take communion to the homebound, that it doesn't guarantee that I will let you do it. I am going to put together a group of about 15 individuals, is our hope, to take communion to those who are uncomfortable and would like communion brought to them at home. In regards to the parish office, we will be still staying closed in the parish office and working from home. If you are in need of an appointment with myself or one of our staff, please call to set that appointment and it can be given for you. All staff members will be still available by phone and email. So I know this is a lot of information. I went over a lot of different things. The main things to remember is we are adding an extra mass to help accommodate the 200-person limit. So masses on Saturday, 5 p.m., Sunday, 8, 9:30, 11, and 1. Please keep those masses in mind. They are every 30 minutes between each of those masses. So please keep that in mind. They are on first come, first served basis. You are asked to wear a mask whenever you come to Mass. We have a few that are going to be provided for those that are in need of one. But you know, it still is very exciting. After all of this stuff, I know it's a lot of different dialogue, a lot of different things happening, but we were able to come back. We are able to come back as a community to worship with one another. And you know, I think that is the most important thing for us to remember. We have been missing not just the communal aspect. Our Mass is about the receiving of the Blessed Sacrament and worshiping of our God. And now we get a chance to finally, at least in a smaller context, to come together and worship as a community of faith. And I cannot wait to see all of you on the 19th and those daily Masses, and on the 23rd and 24th for our first weekend Masses back as a parish community.